grew by 6.6% in the third quarter of 2021 as against negative 3.2% in 2020. The growth was largely driven by education, health, and the hospitality industry, including mining and quarry as well. We're going to have a discussion about that with my colleague Sani Abdurrahman. But before we do that, let's speak the business language for today, and then we'll go to the stock market for the business language for the market update for today. Welcome back. Let's go to the Ghana Stock Exchange for the midweek trading update from Sunny. Sunny, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Edward. Let me start by telling you the volume of shares that were traded on the market as at the end of the session. We had 837,615 being the biggest in terms of what we've seen so far since Monday. On Monday, we recorded 226,000 and it has jumped to 837,000, and that also has translated into a value of 935,000 Ghana cedis, also being the biggest since the start of the week. We had on Monday ETI carrying the market by a Peswa gain that we saw in that equity. On Tuesday we recorded same, ETI carried the market, but on Wednesday, of course, ETI thought it was going to carry the market as a result of a loss that we saw in the heavily weighted MTN that has resulted in the market indices going down. The composite index has gone down from 2,826 that we saw on Tuesday to 2,798. And if you want to know how that has affected the market capitalization also, it has gone down by some 128 million Ghana cedis from 64 billion 383 on Tuesday to 64 billion 255. If you do the mathematics, you'll get some 128 million loss there. If you want to know the how it has directly impacted the financial stocks and also the composite index, you realize that it went down by 28.05 points. That's the composite index I'm referring to. And of course, the year-to-date return is now at 44.11%, indicating that if you have invested your money on the market since the start of the year, your return is hovering around this figure. The financial stocks, however, went up by 13.05 points, giving you 18.69% return, and that is as a result of the fact that even though the market went down, ETI recorded a gain, and that has given some sort of profits to those who have invested in the stocks. If you want to know the number of stocks that traded on the market today, 12 equities saw some activity. I will be telling you some of them. Of course, let's start with MTN, which has dragged the market a bit down today. 797,169 shares it traded. It lost 3 pesos, and of course, the weight that MTN has on the market, this will result in the market indices going down. ETI also, which gave some excitement in the market, recorded some 1 peso gain, traded 30,000. Of course, the weight of ETI and MTN is not the same, so it could not save the market. 1,504 shares were traded in GCB, 40 as low as 40 shares in Guinness Ghana, 3,900 in PBC, 200 shares in SCB, and 888 with Societe Generale, 2,948 with Total, and as low as 28 with Unilever. So if you want to know what happened in the market today, Edward, that's all I can tell you.
Great, that's good news. We're seeing the market experiencing some zigzag there.
Yeah, yes.
But we hope that we should be able to cross the 50 mark or be hit the 50 mark before the close of the year.
I mean, for some time now, if you look at the trend on the market, you could tell that it's going to end around 45% on the average, because it has been going a little over 45, coming back to 44, and with some few days to the end of the year, you wonder how this may
get to the 50 mark.
50 mark is good. Unless maybe MTN has been doing the magic. It has been propelling growth on the market, and once maybe some massive trading we see in MTN resulting in some gains can drive the market to more than 50%. That I don't doubt.
Yes, it can happen, because today it drove the market down by 28 point something percent. But we hope to see. We hope that it will translate. I mean, good things will happen along the way. All right, so we're going for a short break. When we come back, we're going to have a discussion about the growth of the Ghanaian economy, with even some analysts changing their prediction or projections about economic, the growth, GDP growth from 4.4 to almost 5%. So we'll be right back.
It's our walk back into the year. We call it the Year in Review 2021, showing on Thursday, 30th December at 5 p.m. and a repeat on Friday, 31st December, also at 5 p.m. on GBC News and GTV.
Oil perspective, we see an increase of 6.6 percentage point between the third quarter 2020 and the third quarter 2021, specifically with the third quarter 2020 standing at 40,440.3 million, increasing by about 3,000 million to 43,093.5 million for the third quarter of 2021. From a current perspective, that is from an oil and a non-oil perspective, looking at the 2020 quarter 3 with 2021 quarter 3, we see an increase of close to 18,547.9 million between the 2020 quarter 3 and 2021 quarter 3, with the exact figures specifically at 91,563.4 million for quarter 3 2020, increasing by 18,547.9 million to 100,111.0 million for the third quarter of 2021. From a non-oil perspective, we see an equal increase of about 17,122.6 million between the third quarter of 2020 and the third quarter of 2021. Specifically with the third quarter of 2020 being 88,504.8 million, increase increasing to 105,627.3 million in the third quarter of 2021.
For the third quarter of 2021, GDP stood at 8.6%. The services sector recorded the highest growth of 13.4%, followed by the agricultural sector with 9.2%. Industry growth, however, contracted by 2.0%. Within the services sector, education grew to 6.3% compared to the 2.7% in second quarter of 2021. Professional, administrative, and support activities also expanded by 4.6% in the third quarter of 2021.
From a constant prices point of view, again looking at it from both an oil and a non-oil perspective, we see an increase of 6.6 percentage point between the third quarter 2020 and the third quarter 2021, specifically with the third quarter 2020 standing at 40,440.3 million, increasing by about 3,000 million to 43,093.5 million for the third quarter of 2021.
Major drivers of the 2021 third quarter GDP were crops, education, trade, vehicle repair, household goods, information and communication, and manufacturing subsectors.
Hello, welcome back to Market Avenue. Let's take a look at the various drivers of the growth that we witnessed in the third quarter, 6.6%, as against negative 3.2% in 2020. Sunny, we hear that education was the main driver, 24.2%. Why is education now taking the lead from areas or sectors like hospitality, mining, and even agriculture?
Well, across the education value chain, especially if you look at the basic to the secondary level, there are a lot of economic activity, people supplying, selling stationery, a lot of items, especially when it comes to the food that is given to these kids. So once the lockdown kicked in and schools were restricted from operating, all these people will be out of business for a while, and that will certainly contribute to a decline in economic activity. Remember, these people will be sourcing their raw materials from farmers in the northern parts, in the southern belts, and a lot of other suppliers. Some also will be importing their items from outside the country to also be selling or supplying to these schools. So once schools are not operating, these group of people will be out of business. And once now that school has also reopened, and for a while since January, we've not had any issue of a lockdown that, compared to what we saw in 2020, it means they are in constant business activity, and that certainly is going to propel economic activity in that subsector, and that has contributed to what we saw today.
All right. Another thing that I think also might have driven this growth was the fact that for the first time, we've seen schools being in there for 6 months, you know, at a basic level to JHS level. They were there for 6 months. So that might have an impact, continuous economic activity.
Certainly, that is true, as I indicated, because even with the free senior high school, we still have private schools. So these people will be relying on the market to get their materials. Even with the free senior high school, there are suppliers who supply them with some of the stuff that they use in running or operating. So once, for more than 6 months, I see it for more than 6 months, because since January, February, school has been in operation till December now for nearly a year now, and they've not had any sort of interruption as far as operation is concerned, and constantly they will need these items to run their operations. Certainly is going to drive economic activity.
Great. Another issue that is also worth looking at, the supply of textbooks or exercise books. Though we import some, but a lot of things happen. Look at a place like Newtown, you know, it's a hub for printing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what is your take on that?
Yes, of course, we often do stories when schools are reopening, and you go to Makola, you go to a lot of places in Accra here, specifically the Central Business District. You see a lot of parents buying school uniforms, buying textbooks, buying a lot of items so that these kids, when they go to school, they'll be using them while in school. So once school is in operation, every 3 months they have to go and buy these activities. It's creating a lot of jobs across the value chain. The manufacturers are in Ghana here because a lot of these items are not imported.
Yeah.
These books that we are talking about, you go
Printers does a lot of this
yes,
printing. Yeah.
and those also supplying them with papers and that stuff. So you see a lot of jobs for people along the value chain. And once schools are in operation, it means business for them.
All right. Now, one sector that also recorded massive growth was the health sector. What is driving this growth in that sector?
Well, for the health sector, you see that since the emergence of COVID-19, there is opportunity for those across that value chain also. The production of PPEs, the production of nose masks, and those stuff. It means people will be asking for more of these products. We've had our first wave, we've had our second wave, and I think we had a third wave. Yeah. And this means that once there is that sort of panic among the public that COVID-19 infection is on the rise, people will go for these materials, and that created some jobs. Of course, we know the health sector is one of the drivers, even though its contribution to GDP is not that high. But medicinal product is always on the demand as far as people who want to stay healthy and that stuff. So that also has contributed to us recording some growth in that area. But for me, what stood out is the fact that manufacturing is on the decline. And any economy that wants to drive, that wants to grow, and you are rallying on the back of services sector growth, you have a problem because you cannot create the needed jobs that you want to create. Manufacturing, if you look at the value chain, offers a lot of opportunity. So once, after COVID-19, the industrialization agenda and a lot of talks about industrializing the economy, we are still not seeing that growth in that sector. It's a worry for us as a country, especially when we want to become the hub of industrialization on the continent. I don't know, what do you think about that, though?
Yes, I think it's a very interesting scenario in the sense that once COVID-19, has hit a lot of economies. Now, the value chain disruption across the globe is going to have that rippling effect on ours in the sense that you manufacture to export or you sell within. Now, if Ghanaians cannot go to China or they cannot go to certain areas, and some NTs, non-traditional export, cannot be sent outside as quickly as possible as the manufacturer would have wanted or wished, automatically it's going to drag down your growth. Yes, so we want to grow and want to industrialize, but certainly not at this time, because if you look across the world, even China, which is referred to as the factory of the world, its manufacturing sector is not growing at the pace it wants to grow because there's so much global supply chain disruptions. So for instance, Shenzhen port for the last 3 months was not active. And these are the areas that we source a lot of our supplies,